Hey guys, this is Arun,
And this is Abby.
and welcome back to a brand new episode of Fill Your Pockets. Today's episode, Tuesday, August the 24th. Yesterday, we went 1-0 with our plays. We're starting the week strong. I like it. We even finished the week strong last week, and I had a feeling yesterday we'll continue that with that momentum, and we did just that, 1-0 with our play yesterday. For the season, I think we're sitting at 21 and 17, still above 500, still in the green. So we're looking good. So we got a few plays for today. Hopefully, we could make you guys some money and keep this momentum going. But quick recap of yesterday: we had a straight bet, Yankees taking on the Braves. Both teams were on a nice 9-game winning streak. The Yankees prevailed, 10-game winning streak. They beat the red hot Atlanta Braves 5-1. Abby, what's your thoughts on this yesterday's play, man? The Yankees
All
taking
right.
on the Braves.
Getting the Yankees at plus money. I hope people took advantage of that when we discussed the game yesterday at around, like, what was it, 12 o'clock? It was
Mm-hmm.
plus money. By the time the game started, they were basically a pick 'em. So the
Mm.
line went real heavy on the Yankees. So I hope no matter what line you got a great line. You got value regardless. Because getting the Yankees at plus money or even at a pick 'em, especially right now, was a great value, and that's what we all got today. Hope everyone enjoyed that. But yeah, yesterday, Yankees Braves. Yankees win 5-1. I think it was great pitching by both teams to start the game. It was 1-1 after 5 innings. So both starters are doing their job. It wasn't until the sixth inning where you can say the game broke loose. Stanton, to be honest, he was MVP yesterday. He's the one that solo homered. He scored the first run of the game, and then with the guys on first and second, he's the one with the base hit, 3-1 lead in the sixth inning, and then in the eighth inning, Yankees scored two more runs again, make it 5-1, and that was about it. The Braves couldn't score. The pitching for the Yankees was superb because Loizica came in 2 innings, the best pitcher they got right now, to be honest. He came in 2 innings, sixth, seventh inning, very vital, shut him out. Peralta came in, shut him out. Chapman, 5-1. He struggled, but 5-1, 4-1 lead. Maybe that's enough. Maybe they're like, okay, let's boost his confidence up for the future. Comes in, gets all three out, 1, 2, 3, no trouble. And the Yankees has continued 10-game winning streak, longest winning streak of the season for them, longest winning streak right now at the moment. And the Braves' 9-game winning streak has ended. Nothing to be ashamed of here. You lost to a really good team, and they're back at it today, and we will be going over today's game as well. They're only going to play 2 games, so it's a very small series, if you want to call it that. But yeah, 21 and 17 so far. I know. Yes, last week we had a little bit of a rough patch, but that's what happens. You go through it, you ride it out.
A
Don't
new
get
week,
scared.
man.
What?
New week, man. New
New
week.
week, man. Exactly. New day. That's the thing. That's the one thing about baseball, especially because it's every day. And that's one benefit of baseball, in my opinion. That's one great factor about picking games for baseball. But baseball will be ending soon. But don't worry, because football will be coming back. Just a little preview what's coming forward. But that's the recap for yesterday's game.
All right. Let's move on to today's slate. We have a lot of games on today, but we're going to be going over 4 games in this episode. The first game of today's slate, it's a 7 o'clock Eastern time game. We got the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Right now, the Rays are leading the season series 2-0. And right now, the odds, Philadelphia will be the underdogs in today's matchup, plus 105, and the Rays will be the favorites, minus 125. Abhishek, first game of the slate, we got the Rays taking on the Phillies, man. 7 o'clock game. Who you got?
Line, like I said, like Arun mentioned, minus 125, minus 110. This line keeps going up and down. The Phillies started off favored, then the public, I mean, not the public, yeah. Everybody hammered the Rays. Right now it's minus 125. I'm pretty sure it's going to keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of scared of that, but I trust the numbers. I trust the teams. I trust the research you do. And let's just go over it. Let's start off with Tampa Bay. To the road team, 7-3 in their last 10 games. Man, they just win. They just win. They find ways to win. They're 28 and 21 against lefties, which is what the Phillies are going to be throwing out there today. Now we get into their pitcher today, Drew Rasmussen, if I'm saying his name correctly. He's been getting better and better per start. So he hasn't had a huge sample, but he's been improving every time. His pitch count has increased every start. It started off with him pitching only 25 to 35 pitches, and then they took him out. They put the relief pitchers in. But the last start, he pitched 4 innings, 55 pitches. So they're ramping him up. They probably want to use him more when the playoffs start, but they want to make sure that he doesn't get – because he's not used to pitching a lot. That's probably why. They're being very cautious with him. They need him. He's been playing really well. And over his last 4 starts, 2.7 ERA, which is fantastic. And I will say one benefit for the Rays today is they blew out the White Sox on Sunday, 9-0. Bullpen got rest because they didn't need to use the big guns. Monday, yesterday, had off. So today, if Rasmussen goes maybe 3, even 4 innings, maybe 5, if he doesn't go that deep, it's not that much to worry about because the Rays relievers will come in and they have the best bullpen in baseball. So you can trust that factor that, oh my God, maybe he won't pitch that much. It doesn't matter in my opinion because he'll go at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 innings. If he keeps it at 1 run, 2 run, then you expect the Rays to at least score that much, and then the bullpen comes in and saves the day right there. Now we get into the Phillies, 4-6 in the last 10. They haven't been impressive at all in the last 10 games. They took 2 games from they just beat the Padres. That's not saying much. The Padres have fallen on their faces. They got swept by the Phillies. Got swept by the Diamondbacks. That was just recently. I think they lost the season series to the Reds also. So ever since that little 10-game winning streak that they had against the Pirates, the Nationals, and the Mets, this team has come back down to earth. This is what they are. They're an okay team, above average if you were to ask me. But they're not a special playoff caliber team, in my opinion. And that is exactly why they are now 4 games behind the Braves for the division. Now we get into the pitcher today. Ranger Suarez, kind of the same situation as the Rays with Drew Rasmussen. Both these guys were pitching from the bullpen when the season started, but now they need these guys to start games because they've been pitching fantastic, and they need to have good. You need good pitching. If you don't have good pitching, you're not going to win. Especially if you're a good team, you need reliable pitching because that's how you win games. Obviously, you still have to score, but if you can't pitch, you can't win. Simple as that. So Ranger Suarez, he's a lefty. He's starting today. His pitches have also increased over the last couple starts, but his last start against Arizona, which is an awful team, that was his worst start so far. 4 innings, 3 runs allowed. He hasn't been pitching past the 5th inning so far, and Philly's bullpen is not good. They have improved, but it's not that good, especially against a team like the Rays. So basically, minus 125, that is amazing value. There's no reason not to take the Rays here. The Rays, they just keep winning. They have the pitching advantage right now, in my opinion. They have the bullpen advantage, and they have the lineup advantage. Rays would, in my opinion, is the easy take here.
All right, moving on to the second game of the night. We have a 7 o'clock Eastern time game. We got the Yankees taking on the Braves. They just played yesterday, and we all know the Yankees got the better of the Braves. We picked the Yankees in our straight play. But today's game, 7 o'clock game, the Atlanta Braves right now minus 140 odds on DraftKings. Yankees, you could get them at plus 120. Once again, Yankees are underdogs in the matchup, just like yesterday. Abhishek's second matchup of the night. Yankees taking on the Braves, man. Who you got?
Yankees back-to-back underdogs, but I'm sorry, I will not be riding with them this time, in my opinion. Let's get into why. Yankees have Andrew Heaney. We've went over him a lot in this show over the past couple of weeks. And Charlie Morton for the Braves. You basically have the weakest pitcher for the Yankees going up against the best pitcher for the Braves. Yankees, as Arun mentioned, they're the hottest team in baseball. 10 straight wins, 17-3 in their last 20 games. So nearly a month of losing only 3 times. It's fantastic. But Andrew Heaney has been responsible for those 3 losses, or close to at least 2 of those losses. So let's get into him. Obviously, he's coming off a great start versus Boston, 7 innings, 1 run at home. Give him a lot of credit there. But He has not been consistent the whole season. He's had games where he's given up 1 run, 2 runs, 8 innings, 7 innings, 6 innings, strikeouts, etc. But he has not been consistent, and there's no way you can tell me to trust him in the situation, especially with who they're going up against. Okay, now we get into the Braves. People got to remember, they were on a 9-game winning streak. So it's not like the Braves are not supposed to be favored here. They were on a 9-game winning streak. They lost yesterday. The pitching advantage was basically for the Yankees. But today, the pitching advantage is clearly the Braves. Charlie Morton, the veteran, he's still doing it. Still got that curveball. He's still dominating. In his career versus the Yankees, he's been fantastic. He had a 2.9 ERA versus the Yankees in his last 5 starts, giving up less than 3 runs per start against them, which is great. He already pitched against them this season. It was earlier on in the season. I think it was sometime in May, if I'm not mistaken, which is obviously a different Yankees team, but still, majority of the players are still there. He went to Yankee Stadium, gave up 1 run in 6 innings, which is fantastic. Now he's at home. Yeah, listen, Andrew Heaney, he was good. He was really good last week against the Red Sox. I'm sorry. You got to prove it to me. You got to prove to me you can do this again. And there's no way if I'm picking this game that I'm picking the Yankees. I understand why people will probably pick the Yankees 10-game win streak. They're hot. You want to ride that. But eventually they're going to lose. No team wins every single game. Obviously, I think the longest winning streak in baseball history is 20 games, I think, if I'm not mistaken, by Oakland. So it's going to go down. I think if they go down here, if one thing that's interesting in this game is you may want to take the first 5 innings because Charlie Morton, he'll pitch probably 5, 6 innings, and then you have to trust the relievers to come in. And that's where it can get a little crazy here. So, but if you're making me pick the side, I'm picking the Braves, minus 140. That's great value. Great value. And if I wanted to make it a little bit different, I would probably take the Braves in the first 5 innings as well. But regardless, this situation is calling for the Braves to be the pick, and the Yankees' 10-game winning streak should end tonight.
All right, moving on. We got the third game of the night. We got the Tigers taking on the Cardinals, 7:45 Eastern Time game. Right now, the Tigers are 2-0 in their season matchup. The odds for the Tigers, they opened up at plus 170. Right now, they're sitting at plus 200 on DraftKings. St. Louis, the favorites for tonight's matchup, minus 250. Abby, Tigers taking on the Cardinals, the third matchup of tonight's slate. Who you got, man?
All right, it's going to be one of the bigger favorites we had. The line is moving for this game, too. It was minus 190 when I started the morning when I looked it over. Now it got as high as minus 250. It went back down now. It's at 225, I think, around there. So it's in the 200s now. But still, I think this is a clear advantage in one situation. Let's go over it. We got Casey Mize, the young, promising pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, versus Jack Flaherty, who is the ace, him and Wainwright, but he is the young ace of this team. He is their best pitcher, in my opinion. The numbers even say that. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. The thing is, he was hurt this season. He missed over 3 months. I think it was due to a hand injury, if I'm not mistaken. He did have an injury that was significant, which is why he had not pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals. And him not being there is a reason why probably the team is not as good as people thought they would be. Him being there, they would have definitely won at least probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 more games. And they would be right there, even closer to the wild card spot, if not the division as well. But that injuries happen, and now we move on from that. And now we get into the game. Detroit, 4-6 in the last 10, 27-36 on the road. They are a winning team at home. They're a losing team on the road. Casey Mize, 4.09 ERA in his last 7 starts. Not extremely awful, but not impressive either. He has struggled recently. And to be honest, in his last 7 starts, he has not gone up against good competition. So for him to be struggling and to not be going up against good competition, that tells you something. The only team that he's played in his last 7 starts that actually had a winning record was the Red Sox, and he was at home. The Red Sox won that game, and Mize pitched 5 innings, 4 runs allowed. So that's clearly telling you so far that when he actually went up against a good team, he lost clearly, and it was clearly an L. He didn't pitch well at all, and his numbers are somewhat skewed because he's been taking advantage, if you want to say that, of teams that are not good anyways. He's pitched against the Orioles twice. He's pitched against the Angels. He's pitched against the team is escaping me right now. He's pitched against a couple of the Rangers. So the Royals. So he's pitched against teams that are not making the playoffs, and still his numbers aren't impressive. So that's a glaring stat in my opinion. Now we get to St. Louis, 6-4 in the last 10. Not bad, not great. Winning record though. They are still right there for the wild card. Obviously, the Padres have fallen. The Reds are skyrocketed up now. They're the wild card team as of right now. But St. Louis is only 4.5 games back. They're right there still. They can still get hot and still win. They get their ace back, Jack Flaherty. This is his third start since he came off the injured list. Let's get into those starts. Excuse me. 1 second. Okay. In his last 2 starts that he's pitched, he's coming off 12 innings. So he's pitched 6 innings in both games, 2 runs allowed total. Fantastic. On average, he's given up 1 run in 6 innings. So, and he went up against the Brewers and he went up against the Royals. 2 teams that are better offensive. Actually, I would say the Brewers are better, but the Royals aren't better than the Detroit Tigers. So he has gone up against one very, very, very good team and one decent to below average team. So he has went through the gauntlet in both ways. And in his 13 starts that Jack Flaherty did start this season, they're 10-3 in those starts. So clearly, when he pitches, they win. 10-3 is a huge, huge number in my opinion. It's a great sample. So clearly, we're not picking the money line here at anything over minus 200, but we will probably find a way to pick this game because St. Louis clearly has the edge here.
All right, so moving on to the last game that we'll be going over in today's episode. It's a very late game, 10 o'clock Eastern time game. We got the Dodgers taking on the Padres. Right now, the Padres are leading the season series 7-3. The Dodgers have won their last 4 out of 5, while the Padres have dropped their last 4 out of 5. And the Padres have not announced their pitcher today, or not yet at least. So the odds right now, they're not completely out. But you could get the Dodgers at minus 130 on DraftKings and San Diego plus 110 on DraftKings. Abhishek, the last game, Dodgers taking on the Padres, man. Who you got?
Once again, another small line where you have one really good team, one great team versus a team that should be good, but they have just fallen on their face. And I think the Padres are 7-3 against the Dodgers, but that was a long, long, long time ago. And those were 2 different teams at the time. And I think the Dodgers have not forgotten that. They know that they have a losing record against this team. And they're the division rivals. People keep saying that the Padres are coming. And the Dodgers are saying, we're waiting, we're waiting, we're waiting. And let's see what happens today. Both these teams are very questionable with their pitching today. The Dodgers did say, it seems like Julio Urias will be the lefty will be pitching for them today, which is a good sign because he did get injured a little bit coming off the injury list. The Padres, we don't know who's pitching for them. Some reports are saying Yu Darvish may be coming back, and he has pitched. He started off the season great. His last couple starts have been awful. That's probably why he went on the injured list. Whatever issues he was dealing with, clearly he needed to get addressed because they were losing and he was pitching awful. But for your first start to come back and you're going up against the Dodgers, well, I don't think that's the best present. That's the best way to come back and regain your form. But that's why we get into this game. Start off with the Dodgers. They're the road team, 9-1 in their last 10. They were also on a 9-game winning streak. They lost their last game on Sunday to the Mets. They just ran. Their problem right now is all of their pitching is not available. One guy is dealing with legal issues, Trevor Bauer. We will not be getting into that. That's a whole separate mess. We'll see how that ends up. They have a couple players injured, and a lot of pitchers that are injured. Mookie Betts is obviously still injured. So they are trying to find a way to get quality pitching after Urias, Scherzer, and Buehler. Clayton Kershaw, he's still not back yet. And when he comes back, he'll change everything. So they are managing the situation. But if today, apparently, Urias is pitching, and he has been one of their best pitchers this whole season, he has basically saved them as a third starter, fourth starter, whatever you want to call him. Dodgers 9-1, like I mentioned. They're 16-4 in the last 20. In his road starts, the Dodgers are 10-2. In his road starts, Julio Urias 2.8 ERA, less than 3 runs allowed per start, which is great. They are 18-6 in his 24 total starts. That is phenomenal. So when he pitches, the likelihood is you have a great chance of winning if you're picking the Dodgers. And another benefit for the Dodgers is that on Sunday, they lost. They didn't use all their big guns. Yesterday, they had off. So today, if Urias gets into trouble because he's coming off of an injury, well, then no problem because their bullpen is ready to come in and they can manage the game if needed. Okay, now we get into the Padres. Man, I don't know what to say about this team. All the talent they have, it just isn't living up. They just fired their pitching coach. I don't know what the hell that's going to do. You act like he's the one that's pitching out there, or he's the one that's going to help these pitchers come back from injuries because their pitchers are all injured. And to be honest, the pitchers have just performed awful. So to blame a pitching coach for it this late into the season, I think that's kind of cowardly. It's kind of pathetic. It's disgusting because you're blaming a man who is not playing. Baseball is very hard to really blame coaching because this is a very hard sport to coach. It's mostly on the players. So obviously you can't replace the players right now. The season is almost done, regular season. There's like 6 weeks left, 5 weeks left actually. But they got to do something. I guess they felt that this was the best decision for them. I don't agree with it. Scapegoating a poor man is ridiculous. But let's see how it affects them. 2-8 in their last 10. They're 8-12 in their last 20. They're struggling, and they're losing against bad teams. So it's not like they're losing to good teams. That would be one thing. They're losing to bad teams. They got almost swept by the Diamondbacks. They did get swept by the Rockies, and they lost the series to the Phillies, who are an okay team, who we already covered. Now we get into the starter. We don't know who's going to start. Yu Darvish, like I mentioned, he may be the guy. How long will he even pitch? We don't know. So if we're going based off lineup, if we're going by starting pitching, and we're going by bullpen, you got to take the Dodgers, -130. I don't care if the Padres are 7-3 against them. The Dodgers definitely remember that. The Dodgers are right there for the division. The Giants are like 1 or 2 games ahead of them. They can smell blood. The Dodgers know this is our time. We can get hot now. We're 9-1. We can easily win this game. I'm not going to say my bad. Not easily, but we should win this game. We should win this series. And they play the Giants very soon, if I'm not mistaken. But they are going to play the Giants very soon. So they know we got to win the division. We do not want to play in a wild card game. We keep repeating that. We don't want that situation. And the Dodgers didn't make all these trades and all these moves to play in the wild card game. So I think they will take this game very seriously. It's the primetime game of the day, 10 o'clock. I understand it's kind of late in the Eastern time zone, but still it's a primetime game, ESPN game. And the Dodgers should win this game, in my opinion, pretty soundly.
All right, guys. That wraps it up for today's episode. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Hope you guys make some smart bets today. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys in tomorrow's episode. Happy gambling and peace out.